Welcome to Saturday's Total Fitness, and today's routine, a game of moans. Some of you might have done it before. We're hitting the muscle groups really today. So we've got like a push theme circuit, some legs thrown in, pull theme circuit with some legs thrown in, and then the iron thrower right at the end, where you're on against the wall. Anyway, you'll need some light hand weights to do some very high reps. With some lateral raises and prone flies and stuff like that. And some kettlebells if you can, one or two. Anyway, I'll go through it all shortly. But let's get warmed up first, and then we'll go through the detail. Right. So start getting loose. Nice stretch. Chest stretch. One circuit is all about push, chest, triceps, shoulders, a little bit of leg sprinkled in. And then the second circuit is all about pull, lats, traps, biceps with a little bit of leg sprinkled in. Then the finisher is very much about the legs, okay, with a little bit of upper body sprinkled in. Okay? Right, so it's 4 minutes, so like an EMOM, but over 4 minutes instead of 1 minute. You've got 4 exercises to do, all back to back. 4 minutes to do them. What's left of the 4 minutes is your rest. Don't rush them too much though, because you want to make them work. Equally, you don't want to hang around too much either, because you do want some rest. And you want that balance between the two, okay? So, in your push element, let me take you through it. Each one as well goes to 10, 20, 30, 40. So the reps go up with each exercise, okay? So, number 1 on the push, we're doing thrusters, which is a lot of legs obviously, but shoulders. The push elements, okay, so, hand under chin, okay, thumb on collarbone, tucked in there, that's your rack position, okay? Nice and tight, not out here, big mistake, okay, make sure you're there. Okay, then you down into your squat with a press. Okay, and then 5 on that side, and then 5 on the left side. That's my 10 reps. Okay, then I'm moving on to the chest. So I'm going to be doing 20 reps, and that's 10 each side this time. Floor press. So use both hands to pull it into position. Okay. On the 45 degrees, not out here at 90, 45, or even maybe just a bit inside. Okay, work inside, heel into the ground, give you that bit of drive. Push, elbow down, push. Okay, 10 reps that side. Flip it over, both hands to get into the start point. And then 10 on that side. Right, then I'm moving into the 30s, and I'm hitting triceps. Now you can either use a very light kettlebell. Trust me, you're not going to need a lot of weight for this. Nearly everybody underestimates it. 30 reps is a lot. So I'm going to use my 10 kilos, so 2 5K dumbbells, and squeeze them together. I'm coming all the way down, touch my traps, full extension. Okay, 30 reps. Again, we want to see full range. And not 30 like this. Okay, make sure it's there, go, go. And then finally, your 40 reps. You're hitting the delts again. We're doing 40 lateral raises. Okay, so really hit that medial delt, that big sweep on your shoulder. Keep them coming from the hips. If it really gets too much and you're running out of time, then fair enough, you can do what I call a power lateral raise. So coming from that centre point, because really that's dead range, isn't it? You're just building up momentum there. So if you really want to hit your delts hard, to come in from the hips there. Okay, right, so that's what we're doing. 4 minutes. We're doing 4 rounds, by the way. So that's 10 thrusters, 5 each side, 20 chest press, 10 each side, 30 tricep extension, 40 lateral raises. So, everybody's ready? I'll set the time. Right, okay. Are you ready then? 5 thrusters each side, Right, it's 30 seconds left, so I'll probably leave it there either way. Right, round two. It's surprising that volume, isn't it? You feel it immediately. Right, it's about to get tougher. Round two. 5 thrusters per side. 10 chest press. 30 tricep extension. 40 lateral raises. Round two. 30 seconds. Still got 2 rounds left to enjoy. Back to thrusters in a second. Okay, leave it there. biceps. Okay, so same rep scheme, same everything. Number one, we're going to do burpees a row, 10 reps, 5 each side again, okay? So, kettlebell sort of between your feet, okay? You're there, up, 1. Okay, I'm going to do 5 all on the right, and then switch to 5 all on the left. Okay? You have the kettlebell by your foot there, so you drop in, or even just there, as you go forward, just be careful that you drop. Okay. So 10 reps, 5 each side, go on that row, get a good hinge, force the knees out, and then keep the torso at that level, back. Okay? Right. 20 reps. Yeah. Curling rows. So these are much tougher than you think these. Okay, so 20 reps, 10 each side. So what you're going to do in the staggered row, only, instead of coming here, you come in here. So it's much more bicep, yeah? Just going to hang out till you go there. 1, 2, like a curl. Yeah, bring it to the chest. So you probably won't do what you normally do for that, because you're not using your lat as much more. So 10, and then 10 there. 1, 2. See what I'm doing? It's coming here, not there. There's a lot more bicep. 10 each side. Maybe 30 rep. Yeah, these always stick to my head. Particularly after doing that. Upright row. Now we want minimal leg movement. So really what we want is 30. This. You don't really want like a, like a kettlebell clean, anything like that, or a high pull. It is permissible, minimal bit of hip movement, just to get it moving. Okay, but you want this to predominantly be upper body. Okay, and then the last one, the 40 repper, prone fly. So grab your dumbbells again. Hinge. Keep the hinge, knees out. Okay? And then bring them up. Squeeze your elbows. You don't want to be coming back into a lateral raise. Keep your back parallel to the floor, ideally, if you've got that flexibility in your hamstrings. If you haven't, as close as possible. Even if you're here. Okay? Ideally, you want to be there though. Okay, but granted, if you haven't got the hamstring flexibility, you won't be able to do it, so don't worry. Right. Right. Part 2 then. And then we've got the iron throw after that. Okay. Right, 10 burpees in a row. Right, here we go. doing it still. Here a lot. On the traps a little bit, back of the shoulder. Right, here we go again.
Have you ever got high? Cause you're sick of being alone. Do you ever wanna lie? Do you ever wanna go? Well, take a look in my eyes. You can see in my soul. I'm in over my head. I'm in over my heart. Got a pocket of disease. Sounds on the big body of me. No way to be away. Driving a key back in the walls. But I don't even chill. Shouting away with my phone keys. You don't want it to be. Cancel the deal. It's not your
Come on, last time! Fun's not over though. I'll finish it for you now. Well, right there, with the spring in the legs, the finisher's legs with the spring in the upper body. All you need is a bit of wall space. Don't come on that door, for God's sake, it's wet paint. Okay. Right, so, and don't worry if you scrape that wall when you're doing this. I'll just touch it up. That's it. Okay. So, the iron throne. I want you to put your mats away in here. Give them a wipe and spray if they need it. And your kettlebell. All you need is your light dumbbells with your finisher and a bit of wall space. Let's make use of this then, Jackie J, Chris, you'll be here as well, and maybe start with everything, fit the scooters on. And then down there as well. Okay. Get ready then for the iron throne, it's short and sharp. It's classic. Yeah, you need that. Well, yeah, you need like curl, get to roll, play it. So, 7 sets. Okay? Right, let me set the timer then. Try and keep to 90 degrees if you can. Oh, there you go, dumbbells. Try not to let them swing about and hit the walls. Keep control, makes it harder anyway. Right, here we go. Wall sit, just like so first. Okay, ready? Everybody ready to go? 3, 2, 1. Game of Moans wrapped up. So we've got our very last one Monday in the cycle before it all starts again. And that's the end on Monday. It's a toughie. Bring your kettlebell. We've got 2 elbows and strength to that off. Well done, have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in.